I'm 33 years old. I've made a few mistakes in my life, especially financial mistakes. Today we're going to break down the top 5 financial mistakes that I regret in my 20s, what I could have done differently to set myself up for success now that I'm 33 years old. I'm speaking from experience, people. Let's get into it. Credit cards, my friends. When you turn 20, when you turn 18, 19, the first thing you think about is getting a credit card. And you go out and you get a credit card. And you got one credit card, and then all of a sudden you get an offer for another credit card. And before you know it, you can rack up a lot of debt really quickly. So looking back, I really wish I would have, number one, not gotten 10 credit cards. Just because they offered a credit card to me didn't mean that I needed it to take it. But when I was a kid, I thought hey, might as well have as many credit cards as possible, right? But what happened is I would put a small balance, small balance, small balance, small balance. And before I knew it, all these small credit cards would add up. And then I'd be like, damn, well, I'm going to put more money. And then before you know it, all these credit cards now have a lot of money on them and they add up quickly. And now you have the interest and you have all these issues going on. That's one thing in my 20s I really wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have only had, maybe 1, maybe 2 credit cards, maybe 3 at the max. But I would have focused on, number 1, getting a credit card that has points or has rewards that I can use. Find credit cards that have good deals, rewards for you that incentivize you, that make you a better person, that help you in the long run, not just try to take all your money away because of high interest rates. The second, the fourth, whichever way you want to look at it, another thing that I really wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have started investing in the stock market much sooner. I really didn't start investing in the stock market till I was probably 25, 26 years old. So if I would have started investing when I was 20, that 5 years, I really could have, even just $100 a month. And that's one thing that I tell people. Look, at the end of the day, it's okay if you don't, put everything that you have into the market. That's totally understandable. But what you want to do is you want to be consistent. If you make $1,000 a week and you have let's say you have an extra $100, $200 in spending money that you can just blow on whatever you want, maybe invest $100 a week. Even when the market's crashing down, that's the best time to be buying. Being consistent over a long time is going to generate a lot of value in the future. Start investing. Make it a ritual. Make it a fun thing where you're like, hey, every month I like to buy at least $100 of Apple. And make it a goal. Make it a goal that you can do that. And the cool thing now is you can actually buy fractional shares. So you can buy, maybe only 10% or 20% of a share of a company that you can't afford, maybe Google, Amazon, things like that. So really, there is no excuse today if you're not investing. At the youngest age, you should start investing as soon as you can and be consistent. The third and major mistake that I made in my 20s was buying cars and trucks and doing it a lot. Like I probably had 10 different cars and trucks between my 18th and 30th birthday. It was insane. There was no reason. And I look back now and I think to myself, this is advice. Really, listen to this, guys. I'm 33 now. And I look back at one of my nicer trucks when I was in my 20s. I had a Toyota Tundra, totally beautiful, nice, black. It was a cool truck, great truck. Had big tire. Everything was perfect. But what did I do? I ended up selling it so I could buy a bigger truck. And then I ended up selling that truck to buy another truck. And then I ended up selling that truck to get a car. And then you know what I mean? It just becomes this pattern where you're just constantly trying to buy the bigger, the newer, the badder. And then now that I'm 33, I wish I could still be driving my 2008 Toyota Tundra. 100%. If I could go back in time today, I'm 33, and I look back in time, if I could go back and drive the car that I owned when I was 20 today and drove it for that entire time, I would have so much money. I don't know. I'd probably have at least $100,000 in extra money that I wasted on payments on higher cars, bigger cars, smaller cars, improvements and bigger tire, all these things, constantly just trying to have the greatest and latest car. My second probably worst mistake that I made in my 20s was just frivolously spending money and spending money on people that really didn't matter. Maybe a girlfriend, spending a bunch of money on Christmas gifts and then spending a bunch of money on going out to dinner and drinks and drinking and bars and every other possible club and all this stuff. You spend all this money on things that don't matter at all, right? In my 20s, I spent a lot of time partying, a lot of time traveling, a lot of time going out to dinner, and I would do this, every week. I would go out to dinner, $200, $300, spending all this money because I thought it would never end. I thought that I would just keep making more and more money till the day that I die. When I'm 33, I'll be a millionaire. So what's it matter if I spend $200 on dinner every single night when I'm in my 20s, because when I'm 30, I'll be a millionaire. But now I'm 33. I'm obviously not a millionaire. And, you know, if I would have done things differently in my 20s, I might have been a millionaire today. Like, I could have been a millionaire if I would have just made, you know, simple little changes. And one of those changes would be not spending money on just a bunch of stupid stuff, trying to impress people, going out and just being like, oh, I'll buy dinner, I'll buy all the drinks. Just because you have money, don't live like you have money. The best idea when you have a bunch of money saved up is to live like that money does not exist. And I've had the wrong mindset. My whole 20s, I lived with only one mindset, and that was spend, spend, spend. And I'm not saying you should be going out and, you know, just like hoarding all your money and saving it, but invest in things that are going to gain value or going to gain value for you. You know, if you're going to invest in education, you're going to invest in things that are going to give you a return long term. So my biggest financial regret or issue that I had when I was younger, and, you know, I guess I still kind of have this issue, is having foresight. And this kind of applies to all of this stuff, but really thinking longer term, thinking bigger picture, thinking like, hey, I can spend $500 on this pair of shoes right now. Is that a good investment long term? Are those shoes going to make me money in the long term? Or can I invest that $500 into a business or anything? Can I invest that money in a way that I'm going to get a return long, rewiring your brain so that you're not working to make money, but you're using your money so that you don't have to work. There's so many people, I did the same thing, where I just would spend the money that I had and I would just work to make more money. I never thought about actually using that money to make more money. It's a weird concept because they don't teach you in school. They don't talk about it in high school. They don't say, hey, Patrick, you know, you're in high school now, but when you get out of high school, you've got to pay bills, you got credit cards, you got interest rates, you got all these issues you got to worry about. Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. You'll get a job. It'll all be okay. I wish somebody would have told me, like, hey, the problem is I probably wouldn't have listened, but I really wish that somebody would have told me in my 20s, especially like I'm doing now, that someone would have set me down and said, listen, these are things you should be doing. If you're making this much money, you're making $100,000 a year, you should be investing this much, especially in your 20s. The more that you're investing in your 20s, the better off in the long run, because that investment's going to compound and grow and grow. And like I said, even during a bear market, people think that it's a bad time to be buying stocks right now. But if you're doing this long term, there has never been a better time to buy stock when the entire market is crashing down. That's when you want to be buying. So just because the market's going down does not mean it's a bad time to be investing. But the problem is, if you spend all your money on frivolous things, you won't have money to invest when the market is giving you opportunities to invest. So the biggest advice that I could have is to think bigger picture, think longer term. You're 20 now, but you will be 30 one day if you don't die, obviously. But you think you won't be 30. You think it's far away. You think it's like 100 years away. But it comes quick. And before you know it, you're going to go from 20 to 33, and you're going to be like, damn it, I wish I wouldn't have done all those stupid things. I wish I would have been smarter about thinking about the future, because it comes. It will happen. The future is coming a lot quicker than you think it is. There it is, summing it up. Really simple, guys. Be smart about credit cards. They're going to send you the offers. They're going to offer you all these credit cards when you first start getting into the credit card world and you start getting credit. Everyone's going to be trying to give you credit cards, but there is a catch, right? It's not just free money. You've got to pay it back. Cars and trucks are pretty much like a dumpster fire. Like, whatever you think that car is worth, you're going to spend $30,000 on a new car. And that's basically like, just take $30,000 and just light it on fire because it's gone. So if you go and you buy 10 cars over the next 5 or 6 years, you're literally just lighting your money on fire and wasting it. So don't do what I did. Don't go out and buy 10 different cars. Investing, there is never a better time than now. If you're going to start investing, start today. Download the app, get into it. Start investing money today. It's that simple. There is not a better time to start than now. If you're going to invest long-term, which everybody starting out should be planning on long-term investing, there is no better time than right now. And then just think big picture. Always be thinking big picture. Try to have money set aside for the bigger picture. That way there's opportunities. If opportunity comes along and you need money to invest in a business or an idea, you're going to have that. But you might miss out on an amazing opportunity because you were stupid and you spent all your money on stupid things. I'm okay saying that. Like, I did stupid things, I made stupid choices, and I got stupid results.